Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insider. I'm Stephen King, and we come to you from the locker room once again today as we talk Islanders basketball. We'll talk men's basketball with head coach Willis Wilson and women's basketball with the head coach Royce Chadwick. We also got special features coming your way and what's coming up next for Islanders athletics. We get things started, though, talking men's hoops with the head coach of the Islanders men's basketball team, Coach Willis Wilson. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Stephen?
Doing okay. Well, Coach, the pre-conference schedule is now in the books. It is behind us, and it's been, very challenging. There's no doubt about that. It ended most recently with the visit to the University of Minnesota. And let me ask you about Minnesota and Oklahoma and all these others. Do these high major programs have an intimidation factor sometimes against programs maybe of our size? And is it difficult to prepare your team, especially when looking at a team such as a Minnesota or an Oklahoma?
Well, I think by and large the public would view it as David versus Goliath. Sure. But in those instances, there's a lot of times where David comes away with the victory. And in our case, we want to get ready for postseason. We want to be in a position where we can have a good feel for what it means to face a team like that late in March. But first things first, we got to get there. And we've played a pretty challenging schedule, playing on the road at Iowa State, at Oklahoma, and most recently at Minnesota. I do feel like we got better. There's some things that we learned along the way. The fact of the matter is, I think at the game against Minnesota, we just did not shoot the ball well, and that's been a real disappointment for me this year. I really thought, and to be frank, I'm a little surprised that we've shot the ball so poorly against opponents like that. But we had a lot of great opportunities and certainly had our chances to make that into one whale of a game.
There were the shooting concerns and also a few extra turnovers that we were not accustomed to against Minnesota. But if you want to look at some of the positives from that game, you did hold Minnesota to right about 37% shooting, and definitely under their season average. So that was a positive you could take from that. Were there other positives?
Well, and just to hold them to 65 points, when you go on the road, a team that's averaging about 76 points a game, and then you hold them 10, 11, 12 points below their season average. You hold them to 37% from the field. You'd think that it would be a much closer game, and in some respects it really was. There in the second half, I think we were able to cut the lead down to 8 at one point. But again, we've got to be able to ride a little momentum and make some shots on consecutive baskets, get some three-point plays, going to the free throw line, making free throws, things of that nature. But going back and breaking down the film, we've improved a lot defensively, and that was one of the goals coming into this break. Our offensive execution, I thought, was pretty good. I have a hard time complaining about the execution. We've just got to figure out a way to make some shots. And as we go into a new year, it'd be a great time to turn the page on this past year and play with a lot of hunger and a lot of excitement, and because we have a lot to play for right now. And so I'm real hopeful that we're going to turn that page and be able to make some shots in 2014. Before
we look more forward, I do want to take one more step backwards, because prior to the Minnesota game, you did have a home game here at the Dugan Wellness Center against Cal State Northridge. It was a virtually dead even. That game was. You look at the statistics, they were virtually dead even as well. And it came down to the final possession. And unfortunately, we didn't get a bucket to fall. We lose by one. Tell me about that possession, Coach.
Well, before we even talk about that, you mentioned how even that game was. Yeah. To tell the fans how even it was, the separation, I think we were 15 for 20 from the free throw line. They were 16 for 20 from the free throw line, and that was the margin in the game. You can look at the last play of the game. The fact of the matter is we had opportunities that we didn't take advantage of on that last play, but our execution was not what I'd certainly hoped for. We took a timeout with 15 seconds to go, and I thought we had a pretty good set drawn up where we had plenty of options. The fact of the matter is we had those options and we didn't take advantage of them, and then late in the basketball game, the call went against John Jordan. There was contact on the play, but it was a no call. But I also saw a straight line drive that normally if John takes advantage of that, something good's going to happen for a basketball team. Chose to pull up, and again there was contact on the play, but a no call at the end. The interesting thing about that game, though, again, it boils down to little things. I thought in the last 5 minutes of that basketball game, we kind of reverted back to some old habits. We had some breakdowns defensively in terms of giving up middle penetration, not chasing shooters off of screens, and allowing them to find the gaps in the defense and knock down some shots. And then again, it was another game. We had 7 shot opportunities inside the arc, largely uncontested, that we didn't deliver on. And so the shooting woes really bit us in that game as well.
Well, it has been a tough stretch, and pre-conference schedule has completed now. And you talk about the improvements we have. Do the players see the improvements, or do they only see the scoreboard right now? How are they coping with disappointment?
Well, we've had good practices. It was funny just having a conversation with a couple of guys on the staff today and just talking about how competitive our practices have been, how hard our guys are working. That's certainly encouraging. And someone asked me coming out of the non-conference schedule headed into league play, how do you feel about your team? And my comment was, I'm optimistic, and it's not a guarded optimism. I think we're doing a lot of good things. I think we're doing the right things. Our execution has gotten markedly better. Our defense is improving and going in the right direction. I think now we're in a situation where we'll play a lot of like competition, if you will, in conference play in a league that's very balanced. We do have a little bit of a rough slate coming up. We're on the road. We're at Central Arkansas. We're at Oral Roberts. I think we've got Stephen F. Austin somewhere there early in the schedule. And so we're playing some of the better teams in the league. But at the end of the day, we're not playing Minnesota. We're not playing Oklahoma. We're not playing Iowa State. We're playing people where there's a lot on the line and there's a lot of meaning behind the games. And you can call them rivalries, or you can call them conference games, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of value and a lot of meaning. Our goal right now is to steal some games early on the road, and I think the team that can do that, one, it will gain confidence, and 2, will also be in the hunt for a league race.
Or John Jordan, we talk about him, your point guard. Is he running the offensive game plan? Is he doing the things you hope? Is he controlling the tempo to your satisfaction?
Well, right now he's keeping us in games by and large. I think there's a comfort level that we've all become accustomed to, where we want the ball in his hands so much that it's really kind of taken away from the flow of things. We've got to play a little bit with him off the ball, and that's going to happen in a couple ways. We need to really outlet the ball to the 1, 2, or 3 so that we can get a few more transition opportunities. And then in our half-court sets, we're just going to try to take him off the ball a little bit and allow him to be a scorer away from the ball when he's in the ball, when the ball's in his hands, be a little bit more of a distributor.
As we move forward, now we are looking forward here. This road trip you talked about, Central Arkansas and Oral Roberts. One interesting thing about Central Arkansas, you're the first team on slate coming up Thursday, is the fact that LaQuentin Miles has rejoined the team. He's played in the last 2 games, and he's scored 28 points in each game. Now, they had a tough stretch to start the season, but they've brought back some serious offensive punch. And in Oral Roberts' case, Sean Glover is taking over after Obi Emagano has gone down to injury, and Glover, he's averaging about 19, 20 a game himself. You got some pretty prolific scorers you're about to face.
Yeah, and so you defend people like that with team defense. I mean, we're going to have to run some guys at each of those players, different guys throughout the course of the game, and try to wear them down a little bit. But most importantly, our help side defense and our team defense, in particular off of ball screens, those types of situations, we're going to have to mix things up and try to keep those guys off balance, if you will. And the other thing I think to note is, though those guys are scoring a lot of points for their teams respectively, it's still a team game, and you still have to have other guys. So we can't let other people step up and beat us. We can't let guys come off the bench, and I like to call them nickel and dime guys, come in and get 10, 12 points. You got to hold those guys to their averages or below, and then do a good job on the other team's best scores.
Coach, I appreciate it. Good luck on the road.
Well, we always need luck on the road, and right now we could use a little good luck. Thanks.
When we come back, Onagers Insider Zone, Teddy Medina is going to tell you a little bit about Logen Bourque, outstanding Onager volleyball player. That's more to come on Onagers Insider. Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we have a special report on an Islander athlete who's had an exceptional career on the court as well as off. She's Islander volleyball player Logen Bourque. Here's Teddy Medina with the story.
Logen Bourque was a key piece of the Islanders' success this season, but when she came into the Islanders volleyball program, a turnaround was in order.
She came here in a pretty dark time of the program. You know, we weren't very good, and there was a lot of things that needed to be fixed, and she was part of our first recruiting class. And, you know, we wanted someone that we could build the team around more than anything and just give us that stability, and but also someone who was going to get better as the team got better.
Took a lot of work to build it up. We knew the freshmen, when we came in my year, we all knew that we were on a mission to turn the program around completely, and me and Renee and Sarah decided to stick it out, and we were the ones that were tough enough to do it.
Logen has played a huge role in the growth of the team as a teammate, mentor, and leader.
It's honestly hard to even put it in words. Logen has been like that impact player since the day I walked in to the Islander program. And being a freshman, I mean, she helped me along the way.
And she was perfect for us. And but I don't think it's a coincidence that as her role has grown and as her play has gotten better, that the team has done the same thing. And these last 2 years has been really about her more than anything else.
I mean, it starts with the defense, and once you get that set, it's your job to put it away. And so it's definitely really important to have a good setter. And I mean, I wouldn't even classify Logen as a good setter. She's like, beyond excellent setter. I couldn't have asked for a better setter, honestly.
Recently, she was named an AVCA All-Region Honorable Mention, an award that means a lot to the program.
Well, that's a big deal, and to me it just means that she's finally gotten that recognition that she deserved. I look at more of it as a career award instead of a year award, even though nobody else would look at it that way. To me, I've seen her grow so much throughout these 4 years, and it just seemed like she finally got it all put together and had a team around her that could really maximize her skill set and really appreciate what she did for them.
Oh, and definitely, I believe that, you know, her of all people should have gotten that award, and I'm very happy that she did. I mean, she worked her butt off from the day she went here until the very last day of the conference tournament. And, you know, seeing that this just shows that, you know, any team, whether we're the underdog team or whether we're the #1 seed, anyone can get this award. Like, if you work hard and you fight for your goals, you can do anything you set your mind to.
Bourque has been able to balance the life of a student athlete, achieving success in academics as well as earning a spot on the Southland Conference All-Academic team.
Academics have always been pretty big to me. It's just a lot of time management. I mean, if you can figure out how to balance it out and not waste time, then it's hard, but it's doable.
Bourque has opened many doors for Islanders volleyball, and the bar of excellence has been set.
It's just, you know, to see the goals that we've set for ourselves now compared to back then, and the way the standards of the program have changed, and the kids that we're trying to recruit, and the whole thing, how we're scheduling, the respect we're getting throughout the country. This is a big deal, and you could see that that's just means we've grown, and so and Logen's been right in the middle of all that.
For Islanders Insider, I'm Teddy Medina. We'll be right back.
What's Massage Envy Spa? For me, it's healthy, it's affordable. I mean, he always wants
pain relief.
Right. And I want a healthier complexion. And now we can get a customized massage or a healthy skin facial.
At a really good price.
At a great price. And nothing feels better than that.
Customized massages and healthy skin facials, all at the perfect price. Start a healthy routine today with Massage Envy Spa.
Go, you'll see.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we're going to talk some Islanders women's basketball. Joining us here in the locker room, head coach Royce Chadwick. How you doing, sir?
Good, Stephen. How are you?
Doing really well. Doing really well, as a matter of fact. You know, since the last time we spoke, and you were here with us in the locker room, your team has taken to the floor 3 separate times, winning 2 of the 3 games, moving the record to 7-4 on the year. Now, as a coach, does your attention lie on the 2 of the 3 wins, what your team did right, the one lost to UTA and what you did wrong, or neither as you put the whole thing behind you and just look forward?
Well, we look at details. You know, we look at the things that we did that we can correct. We look at the things that we did well that we can polish. We are really playing with house money right now in preseason games. All of this is just preparation for the games that are coming up in January and February. And actually, those are preparation for the games that come in March, because that's what counts. In the Southland Conference, you have to win the games in March. So we're trying to get better, trying to pull the things that we did well and make them better, and the things that we didn't do well, we're trying to fix those. So everything is a work in progress for us right now.
You know, for the sake of what we do, you know, as a show here, we always like to look back and recap a few things as well. And in particular, the loss against UTA. I know it was a disappointing loss for you guys as you were traveling to Arlington, but one piece of the puzzle in that game that seemed to be the difference that was missing was that inside scoring presence. If you look at the book, it seems pretty clear. You know, Brandy Huff, Ashanti Plummer, Kamisha Davis, they all went scoreless in that game. In the grand scheme of things, you have to have balance, don't you?
Absolutely. Our synergy breakdown on our team tells us that our post play is lacking right now. So we have to get something going in the paint. That was our big focus last night, to try to really focus on getting something going in the paint. We've worked very hard with Brandy Huff about squaring up. We've tried to change her post moves. Lexi Harris giving her an additional move. Ashante Plummer, I think, had her best game as an offensive threat for us in our last game. So we have to get something going in the paint in effort to balance what Jazz and Brittany can do on the perimeter, because we've got some guards that can really do some good things for you from long range, but we got to get something going in and or around the basket.
There's no doubt. Now, coming into this week's game, which was interesting, is your squad actually led the Southland Conference in rebounding margin. Now, the interesting fact is you don't have an individual that's in the top 10 in that category. This is a team effort, which you've accomplished here. Now, I know that was ultimately a goal to improve in that category, but did you realistically expect to achieve numbers like this?
Well, our first 3 games, I think we got out-rebounded every single game, and we brought them all in and we challenged them to get on the boards, because Ashley Darley is our leading rebounder, and I think we list her at about 5'9" or 10, and she's probably about 5'7" or 8, and she does it with heart. And so our team bought into that, and they bought into the thought that if we can go rebound, we can win basketball games. And we got out-rebounded in our last game in the first half, and we put it on the board, and they came out and pretty much blew them away in the paint in the second half. So we thought we had some rebounding potential. I'm not sure we thought it was going to be able to lead the league, but now that we're there, we want to try to hang on to it.
Oh, there's no doubt. Now, last week, while you and Coach Wilson didn't make it in, we brought some of the athletes in. We had Brandy Huff and Brittany Bamalou here on the show. I don't know if you got a chance to see that or not, but Brandy, as a matter of fact, probably played one of her best games as an Islander, most recently in the last game on the floor against Houston Tillotson. Career high 21 points, picked up her second double-double of her career. Now, going back to that UTA game, as you talked about, was that something you may have personally challenged her to step up, considering that rough night?
Well, I think it could be one of two things. You know, one, we challenged her, and she's a young lady that really wants to excel. And two, having her on the show. You know, when you get her on the show, it probably really helped her confidence. So I won't be back next week. You can have Brandy for the rest of the year. If she can go get us a double-double, I have a replacement. But great young lady, hard worker, wants to be good, and I'm sure that's why she turned it on for us in the last game.
Well, she did at that. And as a matter of fact, Brittany Bamalou, also who was on the show, it was very interesting because I asked her about the green light, and she said that she has the green light from you and for all the 3 balls that she launches along the way. Is that 100% true? Does she have the green light?
Well, you know, here's what you do with a three-point shooter. You never tell a three-point shooter, stop it. That's enough. You sub them out. So Brittany goes into the game to play, and we tell her, your job is to shoot. And Brittany is on and playing well. Brittany gets more minutes. Brittany is not on and she continues to fire it. She doesn't get as many minutes. So, yes, she has the green light that when she's out there, she determines how many minutes she gets to play. So she's trying to add some dimensions to her game. She's just a freshman, but the things that she has that other people don't have, one, she has a Division I body already. She hasn't had an off season here with us. Number 2, she can shoot it quickly. And number 3, she can shoot it deep. Once she adds a few more dimensions to her game, I mean, she's got a chance to be as good as any player in the league, and she's got a chance to do it very quickly. So her future is just off the chart. And She has a work ethic. She wants to be good. She puts in the extra time off the court to really, really enhance her game. So the sky's the limit for that young lady. And honestly, you know what happened to her in the last game? She twisted her ankle. And when you're a freshman and you have an injury, sometimes you have a hangnail and you're out for three games because, my gosh, my finger hurts. And other times it doesn't matter what happens to them. They can break something. They just tape it up and play. And she just taped up her ankle and played, and that shows a lot of toughness. And so I think she has the total package.
Well, coming up will be possibly one of the toughest stretches for the team, no doubt, as they head on the road to open conference play at Central Arkansas and Oral Roberts. Now, we know how strong they were last year, but how are this year's squads? Winning 2 would be perfect, but maybe even a split sounds fairly good.
Well, it's the worst road trip of the year. It's the longest road trip. You got to go to Arkansas, to Oklahoma. You have to do that within about a 48-hour period. We're very fortunate that we get to do it while school's closed because we don't miss any school, and that's the number one thing for our girls. The negative part of it is we open up the conference play with the toughest road swing, and we've got to be ready. Our post game has got to be much better against Central Arkansas. They're very good. They're very well coached. They are extremely physical. And if you can't stand the beating, you cannot win in Arkansas. So we have to go up there with a mindset, put our mouthpiece in, and wipe the blood off and the tears and keep playing. If we can do that, we have a great opportunity to be successful. Oral Roberts in their building, unquestionably the toughest place to play. The Mabee Center is a cavern, and they fill it for their men. So when the women are playing, there's not very many people in there, but as the game goes on, it starts to fill up, and the pressure seems to mount as you go along. Both those teams are great catch-and-shoot teams. So we have to be able to play good defense and be on top of them, pressure on the ball. Pretty much our game plan, we've started putting it in on the 26th. So hopefully we'll be ready when we go up there to do the best we can do on adverse circumstances.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Good luck this week.
Thank you, Stephen.
Coach Royce Chadwick joining us here in the locker room. We appreciate him stepping in with us. We're going to be coming back in just a moment, bringing you up to speed on what's next for Islanders Athletics. Stay with more to come. Islander Insider continues.
For the remainder of the 2013-2014 season, Islanders basketball is offering a new Friends and Family 4-pack promotion for Saturday games on Stripes Court at the American Bank Center. For just $44, fans get 4 sodas, 4 hot dogs, and 4 tickets to an Islanders men's and women's basketball doubleheader. This is the perfect opportunity to show your support for your hometown team in their pursuit of conference titles. That's 4 tickets to an Islanders basketball doubleheader, 4 hot dogs, and 4 sodas for only $44. Visit GoIslanders.com or call 825-BALL to purchase your Friends and Family 4-pack today. That's 825-BALL. Go Islanders!
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we want to bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders Athletics. Southland Conference play opens up for both men's and women's basketball, and with it, the Southland Conference doubleheaders. On Thursday, January 22nd, the teams will travel to Central Arkansas with the first game of 2 starting at 5:30. Then on Saturday, January 4th, the teams head to Tulsa, Oklahoma and Oral Roberts. That doubleheader begins at 3 p.m. On Thursday, January 9th, they return to the American Bank Center as they host Northwestern State. Game 1 of the doubleheader begins at 5 p.m. Then on Saturday, January 11th, the teams will also host Stephen F. Austin at the American Bank Center, with Game 1 of the doubleheader starting at 4 o'clock. Also, the indoor track season begins in the coming weeks as the Islanders will travel to the Houston Indoor Open on Saturday, January 11th. We want to thank once again Willis Wilson, head coach of Islanders men's basketball, and of course Royce Chadwick, the head coach of the women's program, for joining us once again today here in the locker room. We also thank Teddy Medina for bringing us that great report on Logen Bourque. I'm Stephen King. You've been watching Islanders Insider. Have a great day.